With every match, a warrior is born. Step inside the ring. This is the Whip Podcast with your host, devastating Daryl Pace and Deshaun Whip Dog Whipple.
3, 2, 1. Oh yeah! Dig it! What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders Podcast, aka the Whip Show. You know what it is. It is me, Deshaun Whip Dog Whipple. Oh yeah, dig it! Woo! I don't even know how to do that, man. But guys, welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders Podcast, aka the Whip Show. Y'all know what's happening. Y'all check in each and every week. Thank you for watching the last episodes. You know what to do. Go back and watch them. Go back and watch Gilbert. Go back and watch Dukes the Dumpster Josie. Watch Vince Russo. Watch John Cena Sr. Watch Super Max Hernandez. Watch the Coach's Corner and Railing with Joe Walker. But, forget all that. That's in the past. Because right now, I got the cream of the crop. Y'all heard the voice. Y'all heard the voice. I want to introduce this man. This man, I don't like the term cosplay. I don't like the term imitator, impersonator. I want to just say, I want to introduce you to the savage one, the Motch O Mann. How are you doing today, brother?
Yeah, doing the thing, man. I like the way you think, man. Ain't no cosplay here, man. Ain't no goof in a costume. What we're talking about is something one step above an impersonator, which I am, the world's greatest, #1 Macho Man impersonator, past, present, future. But I'm going to take it a step further, and I call myself a tribute performer. Yeah, how do you like that? Tribute performer.
Did you hear that? Tribute performer. So you guys know this is going to be a great episode today. Now, first things first, man. How are you doing out there, man? Because it's a crazy world. So how are you living, Mach?
Man, I'm telling you right now, I'm in Las Vegas. You want to talk about crazy, man? I live in the center of, we are like on the sun. You know what I'm saying? Like it is hot. It is hot as hot can be. About 110 degrees here today. And yeah, where are you located? Because
well, it's still a little warm here. I'm located in Detroit, Michigan. The thing is, it's going to be I only got a month left. It'll be cold here. But you guys, that's why I go to Vegas all the time. I call Vegas my second home. The 702, baby. I love it. I love it. Now, I got to tell you, Mach, tribute performer. You got a lot to live up to because I've already had Santana Jackson. If you're familiar with him, he's from Vegas. He is
a friend of mine.
That is my boy. I'm also in the local pro wrestling scene. We brought him out to Detroit to do a couple shows with us. I'm going to tell you, that's my guy, Mr. MJ Live. I've had another one of your friends on the show. My man, Randy Hogan, the Mega Powers Unite.
Right. Me and Randy have done some things together. Did the Mega Powers 2.0 deal.
Let's go. And I've even brought in, oh yeah, baby, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Mr. Mike Romande. He's a Dusty Rhodes tribute artist. So another great guy that I happened to meet him at some of the conventions out there on the East Coast. So I got familiar with him. We're friends on Facebook now. I love what he does. I love what Santana's a great guy. Besides, forget about the talent that he has, you know, in the ring, on stage. I mean, the guy is just like, you know, put all that aside. He's a great human being. You know what I mean? Great guy. Man, you know that. That is real talk. I just real quick to say it, and I shout out him all the time. He came on here. He gave some words for inspiration, man. So like you said, because just real quick, and if y'all ever get a chance, make sure you check out Santana Jackson, MJ Live, wherever he's at. I mean, he goes to children's hospitals. Like this man does magic for kids. He's a great guy. But with that being said, man, I heard all of their stories of what made them fall in love with. Oh, no problem, brother. What made them fall in love with their favorite wrestler. How did you? Wait a minute. I know. Is that the IC title behind you?
You got yeah. Well, actually, there's the both titles, man, that I have won. Of course, the Eagle Wing title here, and the Intercontinental title, man. Of course, all part of my gimmick, man.
See, fans, that's why you should not only listen to the audio version of this show, you should also make sure you watch the YouTube version because you know we're everywhere.
Of course.
But I gotta
man,
ask,
this is definitely a visual thing as well as an audio thing, man. You can't just have one with me. You know what I'm saying? You got to see it to believe it.
Now I gotta ask you, what was your start with, before we even go to Motch, what was your start with the love of pro wrestling in general?
Well, here's the deal, man. Just like everybody else, man, it just happened to be on in the background. You know, I'm at wrong place, wrong time, TV set back there, and all of a sudden, man, I got a glimpse of it was WrestleMania 1. My dad was watching a VHS tape of WrestleMania 1. I believe it was shortly after WrestleMania 1. It was in 85 or 86. I'm not exactly sure, but that was my first taste of hearing the crowd and then taking a glimpse over and seeing what was going on in Madison Square Garden packed and Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. And I was a huge Mr. T fan, see? So I look on the screen and I see Mr. T and I'm like, oh, that's Mr. T. He's my favorite from the A-Team. And then I see Hulk Hogan and he's like this huge, larger than life, monster. But the thing that got me, man, was the sound. That crowd going nuts, man. I get goosebumps when I even mention the sound that I hear it in my head, that sound of an audience, man, going crazy, whether they're booing or cheering or whatever, just that loud eruption. And that was the first thing that I heard. And then I turned and I saw Hulk Hogan and Mr. T and just saw, Madison Square Garden packed and everything. So that was where I first fell in love with wrestling. But I took it a step further because I don't know, a lot of people do know this, but I'm new to your audience. So I was actually a professional wrestler way before I was doing this Motch thing. And I don't mean I just dabbled in it. I had a 15-year career under the name Vic Divine. So when I saw wrestling for the first time, I didn't only say, wow, what is that? I'm a huge fan of this. I looked at it and said, okay, whatever the hell it is that I'm watching, I'm going to be a part of that. And that's exactly what I did.
Yo, why did you tell me that? I'm going to send this video to my promoter. You coming in. We're bringing Santana back in October. We're bringing Dusty in. We're going to talk. We're going to find your rate.
I got to make a disclaimer, though. I can't wrestle anymore. But I could, I could entertain like nobody's business. But I got the spinal stenosis thing telling me not to get in the ring and do dumb things no more.
No worries, man. We got you, baby. We just need your visual. Just like right now, man.
Right now.
I'm texting him right now. We're going to talk.
Love it.
But anyway, with that being said, so you just talked about you did get injured, but you still love the business. Well, what made you transition? Because, I mean, listen, like I said, I'm a former pro wrestler. All I do is commentate now. I do radio here, but I still love the business. But what made you transition from in-ring to saying, you know what? I love Macho Man Randy Savage. I really want to embody him and keep that going. And I want to stay in entertainment business.
Well, the thing is that for some reason, somehow, I've been able to do this Macho Man impression since I was like 10 years old. For some reason, I was able to do this thing with my voice before I even had a voice, before I hit puberty, before I ever had a deep voice. I was able to do the whole, thing. And it's gotten better now that I'm older and I know how to, manipulate my voice and everything. But I was doing it in junior high, man. So the first time I saw Macho Man, I just there's so much about him to mimic, the voice, the mannerisms, everything. So that's how it kind of it was just something that I became good at impressions. And I was like, not only with him, I do other impressions as well, but with him, it was it was almost so easy to do him because there was so much to impersonate. You know what I mean? There's just so much character that, I can't do an imitation of my next door neighbor. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing, you know what I mean? There's nothing character about him. You know what I mean? But everybody does a Macho Man impression, bad or good, but everybody could do one. Everybody could do this. Everybody could do the, you know. But I just happen to be like, you know, really, 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 really good at it.
Almost like you're the cream of the crop.
I am the cream of the crop, yeah. And the funny thing is that then the older that I got, next thing you know, when I start, you know, because I did the Macho Man thing for Halloween a few times, right? I put on the gimmick and I put on the glasses and, you know, the wig and the bandana, and I'm like, okay, you know. But as I got older, man, I actually started to look like him. I have pictures of me that are like dead ringer, just the facial expressions that I'm making, or, you know, when I don't have my glasses on and I put my blue contact lenses in and I, you know, give that madness look, you know what I mean? It's like, so I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I used to be really, really good looking, and now I just look like Macho Man. And he had to have been a good looking guy because he did okay with the ladies, man.
Hey, if they know the history, he definitely did, man.
Right?
Man.
For sure.
Ah, man. So I gotta ask you, I've seen the videos, I've seen how you get down, but Macho Man was a flashy mofo. Are you able to really compete with Macho Man? You know about how the robes work. You know about how the attire. I mean, that's got to be a hell of an investment as being a Macho Man tribute artist.
Well, you know what, man? You do it like this, man. When I first started, I made my own costume. I'm going to show you something real quick. I'm going to show you a prototype of the first jacket that I made. And what I did was I went to Goodwill and I bought a black leather jacket. And then I went to the dollar store, and what I did was I just double stick tape and arts and craftsy type things. And I stuck these things. It's all beat up now. At one time, it actually looked halfway decent. This here, these fringe, man, this is from at the dollar store. They had this like a tablecloth that was like a luau, like for a luau theme party type of thing. You know what I mean? For summertime. So I bought all this stuff here and I just taped it on with this neon tape, and I made my first Macho Man costume. And then basically whenever I make money doing gigs, I take that money and I reinvest it. So I keep very close track of, okay, if I made this much money doing a Macho Man thing, I'm going to take this much money and put it back into doing, you know, buying another outfit or and I'm at Goodwill all the time, man. I find fabric. I go in the women's section and I find stuff with like glitter and all kinds of sequins and stuff. And I go, all right, well, this blouse here is $5. There's a lot of material here. I could give this to, you know, I have people that, friends of mine that because I live in Las Vegas and I used to work in a show and there was a wardrobe department. So I made some good friends that have a lot of creative skills. And so basically everything is like, you know, made by people that I'm, you know, they charge me, but they don't charge me what it would cost me to try to get, you know, like his guy, Michael Braun, you know, I'd love to get something made by him, but I'm afraid of what he might charge.
For sure. Yo, fans, I want y'all to make sure y'all picked up what he just dropped. He also said he invested in himself. That is very important. Never forget that. Whatever your business is, invest in yourself, man. With that being said, man, I got to ask you, what is your favorite Macho Man moment that you watched? Like, what was the moment that was like, was it WrestleMania 3? A lot of people point to that. Is it that, or was it something else that was...
I can't remember the exact promo that I saw, but I know that it was a promo rather than a match the first time that I discovered Macho Man, because remember, WrestleMania 1 was the first time I saw wrestling, but Macho Man wasn't there yet. Mm-hmm. So I never saw him until I started to discover where I could see this wrestling, and I'm turning on Saturday mornings and finding, you know, WWF Challenge and WWF Superstars, you know, Saturday and Sunday morning with your cereal, and I'm sitting there just watching and I just saw Macho Man cutting a promo, and I just remember seeing sequence, and I just remember the big glasses, and I remember the voice, and I can't remember what promo it was, but as soon as I saw that guy, I was a Hulkamaniac at first. I'm not gonna lie, I was a big time Hulkamaniac, man, because, you know, Hulk Hogan was teaming with Mr. T, my favorite, and now my favorite guy from TV is with, like, now, okay, this guy's got to be my favorite wrestler, you know. And but as soon as I saw Macho Man, I was like, I don't know, man. Hulkster's not as and that's what it was. It was definitely a promo. But I can tell you my favorite promo out of all the promos, and believe me, I've seen them all. Out of all the promos, man, I really love the whole series of promos when he was getting ready for WrestleMania 5 with the Mega Powers exploding. Every week he would come on and say, Hulk Hogan, you say you love me like a brother, you know what I mean? And it was like week after week of him doing promos, talking about how much he hated Hulk Hogan. And then that one where he took off his glasses and he said, something like something to get me to my boiling point. That was I think that was like the name of if you had to put a title on the promo. And he took off his glasses, man, and he was like right in the camera, like, and his eyes were crazy, like bloodshot, and, just the blue in his eyes and everything. And he just looked madness. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that promo right there is my favorite Macho Man promo for sure. On top of the cream of the crop and the, cup of coffee in the big time, all those.
You got lust in your eyes, Hogan. Oh my
exactly,
God.
That one.
Woo!
That one.
Man, you're giving me goosebumps now, man.
Right? Yeah, man. I feel it, man. I feel it. I got it, man. Seriously, look at that. I got goosebumps, brother.
Woo! Now, I got to tell you, man, that's another thing, man, about Macho Man. Like I just said, he was very committed to his outfits, but you just talked about the characterization. Macho Man lived the Macho Man character. If you know anything about his history, he pretty much was Mach 24/7.
Right.
But what you're doing as tribute artist, what would you tell fans on the outside about being committed to what you're doing? Like how you are committed to this. Like really understanding, go hard, go all the way in.
I'll tell you, man, with anything. And I was the same way when it came to wrestling. And when I was done wrestling, I kind of went into acting a little bit. I moved to LA and I was doing the acting thing and taking that real serious. No matter what it is that you do, and I don't care how many times you change your mind about what you want to do, when you put an idea in your head, if you're not willing to go 110%, just remember that somebody else is. Don't compete with other people, compete with yourself, but know that other people are going to be working their asses off as hard as they possibly can. So you better be doing the same thing. I know there is not one person that could ever say that they're the #1 Macho Man impersonator, past, present, future. I own that title because I earned it, because not only because of my talent, but because of what I'm doing with it. I have hired a branding company. I am starting this whole Mach brand. I'm talking merchandise. I'm talking motivational speaking. I'm talking stand-up comedy. I'm talking like everything that I could possibly do and put it underneath this umbrella. And I'm taking it real serious, man. So whatever it is in your life that you want to do, there's a million and one excuses, man. Oh, well, I would love to, pursue my passion in, photography, but I have this steady job and that's what, I know I get my paycheck. Fuck that. There is no steady, you know what I mean? COVID hit and all of a sudden everybody who thought they had a steady job for 30 years, somebody be working at a job for 30 years and all of a sudden it's gone. Sorry, can't pay you no more. Go after what you love, man. Pursue it. Here's the thing. Find your passion, get good at your passion, and monetize your passion. Boom. That's life right there.
Hey, y'all, the man's been dropping gems all night. I hope you guys are listening to what this man is giving you right now. Now, whoa, so much fire. Now, with that being said, next question. You do a lot of comic conventions and personal appearances. If you could pick one or two that were your favorite conventions or appearances that you've done, let me hear them.
Well, I don't think I've done my favorite yet because there's always been some type of a situation every time that it's the wrestling business. So it's kind of like whether you're dealing with promoters or you're dealing with vendors, it's always going to be, probably, you're lucky if it's 50-50 good and bad, but most of the time you end up with like some type of more of a headache than a good time. I can tell you one time, one of the first gigs that I did actually wasn't a Comic-Con. One of the first gigs that I got hired to do when I first started this Mach thing, and all of a sudden I get a message on Facebook. There was a couple in New Jersey, and they wanted Motch O Mann to marry them. And I had just gotten ordained. I started thinking of all these ideas. What can I do? I live in Vegas. Somebody's going to want Macho Man to marry them. So I went online, did this whole, like, you know, it's really nothing, man. You pay like $30 and you get a piece of paper that says you're an ordained minister. It's like anybody could do it, honestly. And they asked me, they said, are you ordained? You do the whole gimmick, you do the whole, you know, and I spoke to them on the phone and they loved me. They flew me out to New Jersey. I married them. They were the greatest couple. He came out to Stone Cold's music that was in the wedding. I mean, they were huge wrestling fans, bro. I was having the time of my life. So not only did I marry them, I ended up like volunteering to MC the whole reception and be on the mic the whole time and just making everybody have a good time. And I had the greatest time. They let me, you know, I ate, I drank, I, you know, just partied with them. I met some of the girls that were there, the way, you know, Motch doing his thing, you know what I mean? And that probably is my favorite event that I've gotten booked for so far.
Man, dog, that is freaking awesome, dog. Woo.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear. But
much better than a convention.
I can imagine. We'll have to talk about that off the air one day. Yeah.
Right, you know the deal.
Boy. But with that being said, it's time for our first segment. And it's called the mark out moment. Now, when I say mark out moment, that doesn't mean you happen to see a wrestler and you're like, oh my God, I saw whoever. No, but that moment that you might have just been at an event or maybe in your wrestling days and you were maybe in a locker room with somebody or hanging out with somebody and you're like, damn, I'm really kicking it with Hogan, or I'm really going to the bar with Ric Flair. Have you ever had a moment that was your mark out moment, Motch?
Well, you know, the first thing that I was taught before ever even stepping foot in a wrestling ring, I was trained to, once you become a wrestler, once you are on this side of the barricade, you are no longer a fan. You are now choosing one or the other. It was drilled into me that, you know, you don't mark out for anybody. And they taught me what that meant, you know. I don't care who you're in a locker room with. You don't ever ask anybody for a picture. You don't ever ask anybody for an autograph. To this day, I don't have anybody's autograph or pictures with them. I've never, even doing these Comic-Cons, I meet people and it would be great for my social media to take a picture with somebody. And I have a very hard time going up to somebody and getting pictures with them because of what was drilled into my head. So deep down inside, I should have so many mark out moments. I've wrestled guys I've wrestled Tito Santana. I've wrestled Tony Atlas. I wrestled Sid Vicious. That was early on in my career. And I had a match in my hometown that I wasn't even originally booked on the show. I kind of came in with the guy that trained me. And so that was I would say that was a mark out moment, because not only was I now like wrestling in front of people that knew me, but I was wrestling somebody who had just come off TV that everybody knew. It was kind of like he was kind of the main event, the main star, and something happened where whoever he was supposed to wrestle, that something happened, blah, blah, blah. They needed somebody to fill in. And there I was, brand new, you know, nervous as shit, you know. And so getting power bombed and choke slammed by Sid Vicious in my backyard, you know, in my hometown, and my dad being in the audience, some friends being in the audience, I'd say that was a pretty cool mark out moment.
Sweet. Man. Who trained you? I just heard who did train you?
Originally, I was trained by a guy by the name of Vinny Magnetti. He went by the name of Shark Attack Kid way back in the late 90s. His friend also he had a couple friends down where we trained in Brooklyn, because I'm originally from New York. Tiger Khan was one of the guys that was kind of like a co-trainer. And then from there, I moved around. I went to Gino Caruso's school in New Jersey, and you know, he didn't do a whole lot of the training. He ran the facility, and I learned a lot from a lot of the veteran students there. And we, you know, they became my teachers, and they became my friends, and they became my way of getting out on the indies. And then from there, the best training that I had was I moved down to OVW in 2005. down in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was trained by Rip Rogers and Al Snow. And if those guys, those two names are in your list of people that have helped train you, you just can't get any better than that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Rip Rogers trained every star that there is that is still going strong today.
That is a fact. So if y'all fans, hey, if you want to get trained, everybody's not going to be able to go straight to the Performance Center. But Rip Rogers, trust me, yes, and Al Snow, yes, that's what
let me tell you, you're gonna get better training by Al Snow and Rip Rogers than you ever would down at the Performance Center. The Performance Center teaches you how to wrestle for WWE, teaches you how to work, TV, how to do things on certain angles, this, that. If you want to learn how to wrestle, if you want to learn how to work, if you want to learn how to, psychology and promos and this, that, everything. I mean, I don't know if Rip is still doing any of the training down at OVW, but Al owns OVW now. So if you're looking to go get the best training, depending on where you live, another option would be to go to, if you live in the Tennessee area, Dr. Tom Pritchard and Kane own a school in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I mean, Tom Pritchard is another one that if you could learn from Tom Pritchard, you're already, if you've learned one thing from Tom Pritchard, you're already better than most guys that, have been trained by whoever.
Man, that is true facts. Funny story about Rip Rogers and myself. In my wrestling days, I thought I was pretty damn good. So I went to Rip Rogers and they gave me a tryout in OVW. And I learned I had a long way still to go. You know what I'm saying? Because you're right. He gets people together, man. And that was a good thing. And same way with Dr. Tom Pritchard, man. And but I'm going to tell you, listening to you, you were around when they were old school training, not the new age, shiny, fucking weight gym. I mean, old school, kick you in your ass type training. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was great, man. I mean, like, I don't think that kids today can, because I am old school and I'm old, and it's a long time ago. When were you down with Rip?
I got trained about 98, 99. So I was with Rip around 2004, 2005, maybe a little bit after. No, about 2008, 2009.
Oh, okay. Because I was down there. I was going to say, man, it'd be crazy if me and you knew each other from OVW, because I was there 2005 to 2007.
He brought me and my partner in for a tryout. I'm going to be honest. I'm being totally transparent since we talking. He was telling me, like, get your weight together. All, little things like that. Just being loud, but not knowing how to actually say your words to where it means something to people. All those little things were things I had never thought about, because in my personal area, and by the way, fans, that's another thing. Stop just wrestling in your area. Go out there. Because the people see your area, they know you. They're kind of conditioned to like you. But when you go to another area and pop them people, that's when you know you're doing something. Just my 2 cents.
And if you're working in your area, you're probably working the same guys that you've worked a million times. You're not learning. You're not getting any better. You know what I mean? That was the whole point of the territory system. That's why wrestlers were good, because they were working different territories and different wrestlers. Now, what happens is the Performance Center, you're down there and you're wrestling and training with the same guys. Have you ever noticed that everybody that comes out of the Performance Center wrestles and moves and does promos and speaks like they're robots? Yep. They all are cookie cutter, exact same, they're not learning from anything. They got to get out. They got to get out and work everywhere in every, different styles. You know what I mean? You can go to Puerto Rico, you could go to Japan, you can go to Mexico. I mean, those are the guys that were really good, man. You know what I mean?
Bro, let me tell you something. And then if you ever notice, a lot of times once they get fired, they go out there on independent and they really get exposed. I'm not going to say the worker's name, but I'll never forget, you know how they do. They bring a name in, they put him on the top of the indie show. He literally is wrestling one of our guys, and he was telling him, we're going to go into an arm drag. The star, again, I'm not going to say his name, was like, oh man, how do I go into that? See how you just deflated to say this man had been making whatever his contract was, but didn't even realize how to go into the spot that finished off with an arm drag, and literally had to ask Now, granted, he looked amazing body-wise, cookie cutter, but it was like,
Right.
bro, you totally got exposed. You know what I mean?
An arm drag. I mean, come on, man. It's like that is one of the first basic, an arm drag and a hip toss. Those are the first bumps that you learn how to take, how to give them. We used to do drills, man. You line up, and then somebody standing in the middle of the ring, and somebody would, arm drag. Next person, arm drag. So you learn how to take it and give it. And if you don't know how to get into it or out of it or whatever, you use the word star.
Exactly.
Very loosely.
I want to say the spot, and it was a basic spot, the normal international tackle drop down, but I think he hit him with an arm drag, and he didn't know how to go to the arm drag from the drop down, get up, boom. I know how you're shaking your head, and that's why. And I try to give these guys the benefit of the doubt. It's already bad enough that a lot of the guys you see now look like little kids. That's neither here nor there, but you know what I'm talking about. They don't even look like grown men anymore. But
that irks me, bro. Don't get me started on that subject, man. Believe me, I cannot stand. And it's supposed to look believable when you see a guy like Jungle Boy versus a guy like Wardlow, or you know what I mean? Just using those two as an example. Yeah. Like in a real situation, a real fight situation, I don't care how good of a wrestler this 120-pound kid is. The minute somebody Wardlow's size gets his hands, he could do whatever he wants with you. You know what I mean? There's no competition there. There's nothing believable about that. Look like an athlete, at least. If you're small, that's okay.
Yes.
Look like an athlete. Don't look sloppy. Like there's guys like Kevin Owens, there's guys like Sami Zayn that I cannot stand looking at, because here's the thing. If I went to the grocery store and I saw either one of those guys working behind the counter at the deli, or, ringing up people or bagging somebody's groceries, it looks like it fits.
Yep.
Okay. Now, years and years after I was done wrestling, I still get people asking me if I'm a wrestler, without the whole gimmick on, you know what I mean? Like, this is a wig, this is a bit, you know what I mean? Like, just the way that I carry myself, my size. I'm going to be 48 years old in November, and I'm 207 right now. And I'm not talking chopped liver, you know what I'm saying? But I look like an athlete, and I'm not even doing anything with it. There's no reason for a guy who's on TV every week calling himself a superstar and looks like he's never seen the inside of a gym. And then on top of it, your ring gear isn't ring gear. You're wearing, basically what I'm wearing right now is a pair of, gym shorts and a t-shirt. Why is anybody's wrestling gear what I'm wearing right now?
I'm watching the show and I'm like, bro, does anybody own wrestling boots anymore?
Right.
They got mad. I'm glad you went here. They got mad at Roman because Roman said he looks at some of these people, and a lot of us wrestlers were bouncers at some point in our career.
Right.
That's how it goes. And he was like, man, I would throw their asses out the I know I would throw them guys out the bar without a problem. You see, since you brought names up, you see guys like the Young Bucks, and I'm gonna be honest, no wonder CM Punk punched his ass in the face, because he probably had no fear of this guy. Because as a man, not saying we're ever scared, but when you look at another man, there's certain men you assess the situation before you go, you know what I mean? Knock their ass out.
Right.
Most of these guys, like you said, some of them, Sami Zayn, you're like, bro, man, get your ass out the kitchen. Woo! So you're gonna get us off on a tangent, baby.
I know, man. I know.
Man.
That's why I'm always afraid to do podcasts, because when my real feelings start coming out, man, it's like, I'm doing the Motch thing, but inside Motch is a real passionate, former wrestler, you know what I mean? That I'm still very passionate about the wrestling business itself and what's happening with it, not the product. I do not watch. I don't watch AEW. I don't watch WWE. Through my scrolling on social media, I'll hear about what's going on, and I'm more interested in what's going on inside the actual industry, as more than what's going on who's feuding with who. I don't really care. You know what I mean? It all sucks. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a hard watch these days. Especially if you grew up on wrestling from the late 80s, 90s, it's a hard watch. But speaking of that, man, I do want to, and I don't want to bring us down too far on a somber note, but but I do got to ask this, man. Do you remember where you were when you found out the Macho passed?
I don't remember the exact place, but I do remember that it hit me in a really weird way, because you know, by that time I was already kind of like done with, I was done wrestling. I was done watching wrestling. You know, I wasn't really a fan per se, you know, always going to have a passion for it, but I wasn't a fan. And I was a huge Macho Man fan in the 80s and early 90s. When the new generation thing happened, I started to become more of a fan of the newer guys like Shawn Michaels and Diesel and those guys that were coming in, and all the guys that left to go over to WCW like Mach and Hogan. I just kind of like stopped being a fan of theirs. So it was kind of like I wasn't really a Macho Man fan. I can't say I wasn't a fan, but I kind of like stopped paying attention to him even when he was still on TV. And now this is going 2011 when, you know, he's way done. You know, I mean, I hadn't heard his name in forever. I never even bothered to see what he's up to, or, you know, I didn't even know if he was still, you know, alive or whatever. It just, you know, it wasn't really like, I don't want to say it wasn't an interest of mine, but it was like, you know, you grew up and you kind of grew out of certain guys and whatever like that. But when his name came up, and when I heard it at first, you know, it was probably on social media. I was probably scrolling along and saw it. And, you know, you see things all the time, you know, these, they're hoax, you know what I mean? This person's dead, this or whatever. I saw it once and I was like, oh my God. And all of a sudden, like the you know, the 12-year-old in me, you know what I mean? Like, I felt a pain, but like it was really weird, man. It was like a pain from my childhood. It was like, no, that can't be true, you know? And then people started to, because they knew what a huge Macho Man fan that I was when I was a kid, and they knew the impression, you know, people from high school and stuff like that, that knew me doing the voice in the hallways and stuff. I started to get phone calls from people, you know, telling me, like as if, you know, as if he was like family to me or something, you know what I mean? And they're like, hey man, did you hear it? I'm like, is this true? And they're like, yeah. And then I just kept on seeing it, you know, CNN and on the news and you know, this, and when it became real, I actually I cried, man, because it was like, I know that I wasn't a fan for this whole time. I didn't even know what he looked like these days, you know, when I saw the picture of him with the gray beard, and I was like, you know, but something, it hit me hard and it hurt, man, you know. And then that's when I started to do the tribute thing. It was almost like, I remember I hadn't done the Macho Man thing for Halloween in a while. I used to do it pretty often. I was always doing a wrestler for Halloween, even into my 30s and 40s. I'd go to a club and try to win a contest or something, you know. But I enjoyed, the kid in me enjoyed Halloween and dressing up, you know. So I said, when I found out that he passed away, I said, I'm going to be Macho Man for Halloween, and I'm going to do it big, you know. And then I started doing the voice again, because I hadn't done it in so long, you know. And it was like almost a weird type of, when I realized that it was real, man, it was almost as if like a part of his like spirit, like, you know, got into me, man. That sounds really weird, but it was all of a sudden, that's all I could think about was Macho Man. All I could think about is my childhood. All I could think about is me doing the impression. All I could think about is like looking at myself and going, Jesus, man, I freaking look like the guy now, you know? Yeah. And I just said, you know what? This is what I'm supposed to be doing then. I'm carrying on the legacy, you know?
Yeah. That's man. Yeah. Just rest in peace, Mach, man.
Yeah.
We'll sit here and listen to you talk though, man. You kind of already answered my next question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Which era of Macho were you more of a fan of? The WrestleMania 3 Macho Man Savage era, the Macho King, or the NWO Macho Madness era?
Well, you know, the funny thing is, it was definitely like the 80s, you know, the 80s Mach with the sequence, the capes and the robes and all that. When he got into doing and I like the Macho King thing, but it was around that time when he started to do the cowboy hat and the fringe. I didn't like that style. And that was around the same time that he was kind of like becoming less interesting. And guys like Shawn Michaels, I was a huge Shawn Michaels fan. I was like, wow, this guy's cool. Like, this is the new cool. You know, Macho Man was cool, but But now you got this guy, and he's like a ladies' man. You know, he can get any chick he wants. He's the Heartbreak Kid, and but when he was doing the whole cowboy hat thing, I lost interest. And then when he went to WCW, I didn't watch WCW. I didn't like WCW. I was a hardcore WWF guy, and it wasn't until the NWO, you know, you start to hear things from other wrestling fans or whatever like that. And now I'm hearing about this NWO, and that, you know, Macho Man happened to be one of those NWO guys. And I'm like, oh, wow, he looks pretty cool in black and white. And, you know, when he started to change up the fringe thing, and he was looking a little bit more like serious, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's weird. It's like I like all the versions, and I really like that 99 version, man, when he came back all jacked and his hair slicked back. And he just looked like a badass, man, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say my first favorite is definitely the 80s, you know, the like this look here, you know, the big glasses and everything, and the, you know, especially when he was with Elizabeth, when he was a heel, and he's like, you know, it's bad to say, but I enjoyed watching him, like, you know, get in her face and her being so timid and everything. Just, you know, knowing now that was like, he was probably so nice, you know. I mean, he gets all this, everybody seems to think that they know him, you know what I mean? And I'm sure he was overprotective and everything, but, you know, you got your woman in the wrestling business, you better be overprotective, because the wrestling business is full of scumbags.
Ooh, facts. A whole nother story. That'll be like a master class we could have, just talking about the business and the dirtiness of it. But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
Man. So I'm looking at your shirt, and I've seen the promo, Savage Midlife.
Right.
And I've even seen some pictures with Miss Paula Abdul, the legend herself.
Absolutely.
I want you to tell my people what's that all about, if they don't know.
Well, here's the deal, man. There was a movie being made out in Portland, Oregon, and was contacted. The character is basically, in case you haven't seen some of the pictures, and they needed somebody that was, you know, Randy Savage-esque mixed with Abraham Lincoln. I don't know how you get that combination, but that's what they wanted, right? So I had the Motch thing down. So, you know, we shaved off the mustache, and I had the Abraham Lincoln beard, and they put on a hat like this here. Right? This is just one of their gimmick hats that they gave me. But and Paula Abdul was playing the Mary Todd, was basically my Miss Elizabeth. So I just got real lucky that I happened to be able to do the greatest Macho Man impersonation, and I was able to transform it into a different type of Macho Man. And I had no idea when I first got signed onto it. I had no idea that Paula Abdul was even, you know, that she was going to be in it, and I was going to have scenes with her. And it just, you know, as things are progressing, I'm finding this out, you know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, that's pretty damn cool. So check it out. You could just you know, hashtag Savage Midlife. It'll tell you as much as you're gonna know right now. I mean, as far as when it comes out and all that, we don't know nothing yet. You know, it's still in you know, editing and post production and all that kind of stuff. But I had an absolutely amazing time, and Paula Abdul is just the sweetest person. It's still mind boggling to me how I'm standing there and I'm doing a scene with her. You know, and it's 2022, but I'm standing there with like 1989 Paula. She doesn't age.
That's what I was going to ask you. I saw the pictures, and I'm like, she's still fire. Still fire, right, bro.
Unbelievable, man. And you would think like, okay, it's photoshopped, it's filters, it's this. No, in person, I'm looking right at her, and she's right here, and I'm like, how the hell is it possible? Like, she really has not aged. She's got to be a vampire, man. And she's the cutest, tiniest little thing. You know, sometimes you can't tell, you know, on videos or whatever like that, man, but she's so little. She's so cute. And just the sweetest person, man. She just wanted to make everybody happy, and she wanted to do the best job she could. And she's taking acting real serious. You know, it's really like the next chapter. She's done, you know, she was a cheerleader. She was a dancer. She was a singer, a pop star. Now, you know, she wants to get into the acting thing and really take it serious and see where it takes her, man. And she is a damn good actress too.
Awesome, man. I want you to scoot back one more time. Show them the shirt. so they can make sure they get it on camera.
Ooh.
That
Oh,
is
sure. Trip me.
that is Savage Midlife, guys. Make sure, like you said, you
Savage
check it out.
Midlife.
Check it out.
Raging Abe. Raging Abe is the character. That's me.
Now, I want to go to towards my final segment before we get out of here. And this segment is called Book Yourself. Now, well, Book Yourself is really simple. You know, I know you said you were hurt in the past, but let's say that never happened. If you were to take yourself, whether as Mach or your previous character, and put yourself in current pro wrestling, past pro wrestling, future pro wrestling, with some type of a storyline or quick angle, where would you, Macho Man, book yourself?
Well, it's funny that we were talking about Santana Jackson, and I told him this, that if I ever was able to do one more match, if my body would allow me to do it, I would definitely want to have a hell of an entertaining match with him, you know, because it's not about the wrestling. You know, you have the world's greatest Michael Jackson impersonator and the world's greatest Macho Man impersonator, the things that we could do in that ring to make an audience laugh and you know, just entertain the shit out of them without us hardly having to do anything. He you know, of course he'd take all the bumps and everything. He knows that. You know, that's all of it. And he even said it, dude, let's do it. You know what I mean? I'll do everything. I'll take all the bumps. I'm like, dude, I can't. I could hurt myself getting into the ring, like literally, you know what I mean? So I told him, you know, that is definitely having a match with him somewhere like at the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion here in Vegas, where, you know, it's all in front of wrestlers and wrestling fans, and it's all wrestling, you know what I mean? That would definitely be a match that I would book myself. I would like to book myself. I think I was thinking about it the other day, because you know, from time to time, man, I'm always thinking, you know, I'll be watching some old stuff or something, and I'll be like, oh man, I could do one more match, you know, and then I sneeze and I'm like, no, I can't, you know. But you know, there's a few people that you know, if I was gonna go in there, I'd have to be real comfortable and trust who I'm in there with. And I can tell you that another opponent that I would feel absolutely, as crazy as his stuff looks and everything, good friend of mine, Crowbar. He's actually a physical therapist, and he knows, he's actually helped me with my injuries and stuff, even just through like Skype or, you know, whatever, video, FaceTime, you know. Like he would tell me, you know, like I tell him, well, my physical therapist told me to do this, and he's like, no, don't do that, you know what I mean? And I'm showing him the exercises and stuff for my back. I would feel completely safe getting my ass, you know, thrown around by him.
Wow.
So I'd book myself with him.
Salute the Crowbar, man, for real.
Yeah,
for real.
Good dude, man. If you ever have a chance to get him on, he's just super. You don't find too many people in the wrestling business that are genuine, good-hearted people, and he's somebody that, you know, I met in wrestling, and I'm just still friends with him. You know, we're not like buddies, like best friends. We're, you know, he lives in New Jersey, but he's the kind of guy that he's there for you, man. When I told him how bad I messed up my back, and I told him, and he's just like, you know, he was the one like, oh, let's get on a video call. I can show you some stuff.
Sweet.
So he's a hell of a guy. I'm
actually friends with him on Facebook. I'm gonna have to holler at him, because what I liked about it, even though I noticed he was a physical therapist doing good things, he was at Ric Flair's last match. And just seeing how he talked about it, how he generally felt happy, you know what I'm saying, to be a part of something like that. I could tell he was a good dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people, you can feel their energy just.
Absolutely.
You know, a few words, man. With that being said, man, I don't want to hold you up all night, man, but it's been really great talking with you tonight. But the very last segment is called Ring the Bell. Ring the Bell is really simple. It is I give you 60 seconds, and you talk about anything. You can give somebody some inspirational words. You can just give me a macho promo. You can tell me what you ate today. You can promote yourself, whatever you want to do. But Macho Man, you got 60 seconds. I need you to ring the bell.
Yeah, freak out. Yeah, you're looking at it right here. Savage Midlife. If you haven't heard about it, you're hearing about it now. Check it out, Google it, do whatever you got to do. But it's going to be a hot movie with my hot co-star, Paula Abdul. And I think she was giving Mach the googly eyes. Yeah, I think she's got a big time crush on the man. Yeah, I can't blame her. I see myself on camera. I'm quite the ladies' man. Yeah, move over, Brad Pitt. You ain't got nothing. I'm waiting to collect my Grammy and my Oscar and all those awards. Yeah, even for the ones that aren't have anything to do with acting. Yeah, 60 seconds is just about done.
Yes.
Did I do
Right
it?
on time. You guys heard that. Make sure you check out Savage. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, check out Savage Midlife. But I forgot one last question. This is a personal question for me. My man, I gotta ask you this because you gotta have a secret. I do radio as well besides doing this wrestling commentary thing. So for 5 days a week, I'm using my throat. How do you keep it warm, man? It gets, you know what I'm talking about. It gets scratchy, especially when you get excited. How do you keep it? What do you do?
Yeah, man, you got a lot of energy, brother. You definitely are using yours. You know what? The funny thing is with mine, the more that I do it, the better it sounds. So I don't want to like give it a rest because if I yell, like, right now, this whole time I'm kind of talking, kind of it's kind of like half my voice, half I'm kind of taking it easy on my voice. You know what I mean? But if I was to do the whole entire time, and some days are like that when I'm in character the whole day at a convention or something like that, and people want me to do videos and I'm doing them like, really doing them like, oh, hi, by the end of the day, man, when I'm trying to talk normal, I got this thing going on right here and I like it. It kind of sounds cool when I go to the ladies and I say, hey, how you doing? But the more that I do it, the better it sounds and the more dehydrated I get. Actually, it's funny that like I should be drinking plenty of fluids and this and that. The less that I take care of it, the better it sounds. But I also got to be smart and I don't want to lose my voice either because then I'm out of work. So right. I don't know. I don't know how to, I can only give you bad advice of how to make it sound cooler.
I can't. It's all good, man. It's all good. But Guy, thank you very much, Macho Man. One more time, if you give out your social media to everybody, if they want to book you or anything, could you give it out one more time?
Yeah, right now everything is in a transition stage where, like I said, I got a new branding company and we're doing that, basically starting from scratch. So right now there's going to be some changes in my social media and everything, but I believe everything, we're going to try to keep everything the same across the board. So it'll be MOTCHO.MANN. So we're going to try to do that. So when you put that into whether it's Twitter, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you're going to get all of my social media. So we're trying to keep it as simple as possible. But as of right now, if you just if you just go to Google or Siri and you say, hey, Siri, how you doing? Yeah. And you say Motch O Mann, but it's got to be spelled the right way. MOTCHOMANN. If you just Google that or whatever stuff is out there will pop up.
Sweet. Now, you haven't ever had an issue with Vince or anybody with the name or anything, right? The likeness?
No, because the Macho Man name is actually the person that owns the whole estate is Randy's widow.
Okay.
And and I'm not using it's I spell it differently.
Right.
I don't call myself, I never say Randy. I don't say, I call myself Motch O Mann. I don't use the name Savage. I was smart when I put this idea together. And I got the greatest endorsement by Lanny. Lanny, I had a podcast at one time, and Lanny said that first thing he said is that if Randy was alive today, he would love me. And my heart absolutely dropped hearing that. And then he said, I'm telling you now, if there's ever a movie or a biography or anything ever to be made, and I have a say in who plays my brother, I want it to be you. And I have him on a podcast saying that, and I was just speechless. So I have his family is a big supporter of what I do. And there's never been any legal issues with, and I keep it respectful. I could understand if I was going out there and being a goof and doing dumb shit under the, the likeness, but I absolutely don't do anything that's disrespectful at all.
Salute, man. Well, you guys heard it. Like I said, make sure you book him. It is what it is. It's amazing. It's the Macho Man. Bring him to any event you guys got. Also, make sure you follow Savage Midlife so you can check out the upcoming movie. It's going to be amazing. And guys, as always, you know what to do. Check out my podcast each and every Friday. Check out Coach's Corner. Check out Railing, all on the Whip Show Podcast Network. We have some fun. 5-star us, rate us, follow us, tweet us. You know what to do. See you next time. I'm out of here from Deshaun Whip Dog Whipple and the Macho Man. We'll see you next time on the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders Podcast, a.k.a. The Whip Show. Take care, guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Motch, thank you very much, dog. Before you go,